All right, looks like everybody's here and coach is here, so we'll open up for questions.
Hey, good morning, Coach. Flashing back to the very beginning of the season, I asked you what would be fair expectations for your team in year one, and you didn't put like a number on it, but you outlined like playing hard, competing for a championship, and playing an exciting style of basketball. And I know there's still season left, but based on that, do you feel like you've reached or exceeded those expectations?
I think we play hard. I think we play an exciting brand of basketball, and I think we're heading in the right direction to compete for a Sun Belt Conference Tournament championship. So I would say that um, we're heading in the right direction on those three goals. We've got work to do to be a championship caliber team. Um, you know, I firmly believe, and that had we not been injury plagued, we'd be talking about a regular season championship right now. I mean, just think, so what are we, 8-6? Is that right? So 6 losses. We play, we already know what happened to us at Southern Miss. And it makes me sick to my stomach, so I don't want to talk about it anymore. We deserve to win that basketball game. All right. That's 9-5. Um, Georgia State played awful. No Freddie Hicks. Had a cluster at the end of the game. Not saying that you win that game, but that's 10-4. Louisiana Monroe at Monroe, no Freddie Hicks. We blow a second half lead. All of a sudden, you get that one back. That's 11-3. Our other 3 losses are Louisiana twice. I think Louisiana's a better basketball team than us right now. I think we can beat them if we see them again. I'd like to obviously play them with a healthy Freddie Hicks that we have now. And then what is our other loss?
James Madison.
James Madison at home. We couldn't make a shot. So I'm not saying you're going to lose a game. You're going to lose games. I'm not saying we're healthy. We go win all those games. I do think we win at Monroe with Freddie Hicks healthy. I think we win at Georgia State with Freddie Hicks healthy, and we know what happened to us at Southern Miss. You get those 3 back, all of a sudden we're 1 game out of first place in contention to win the league with 4 games left. I think we're heading in the right direction. We got work to do. 1 game at a time, but I think we're heading in the right direction. Do you?
I do, but this is going to be kind of tying into my question of the day, so I wanted to hear your take on it.
Okay.
Coach, you were talking about Freddie Hicks a lot and kind of contributing his absence to some of the losses that you had just mentioned. Freddie Hicks is back. What is it about his game that elevates the Red Wolves in these last few games?
He brings a physical presence that we don't have at the 4 or 5 spot when he's out. Isaiah Nelson and DeAndre Dominguez, really good players. Ladue Laku gives us some good minutes. But Julian Wall's given us good minutes, but none of those guys are built like Freddie Hicks. So Freddie Hicks' physical presence around the rim is a totally different look than what we have when he's not available. He's got the best offensive rebounding rate on the team. So we're a much better rebounding team with Freddie out there. And then we're much better, putting pressure on the rim offensively when Freddie Hicks is out there. Obviously, we're known, for shooting threes. Freddie's that other dynamic. Freddie's a 15-foot driver, a post-up guy, which you've seen a lot the last 2 games. Freddie's the guy we want to get the ball to in the middle of the zone. Even when South Alabama zoned us the other day, if you paid close attention, it wasn't just one zone. They did they played some 2-3. They went box and 1. They went triangle and 2. They kept mixing it up to throw us off. Richie Riley worked for Cliff Ellis back a while ago, and Cliff's known for triangle 2, box and 1. And so they kept throwing things at us. Freddie, when we really struggled with it, Freddie was on the bench in foul trouble. But when Freddie's available, going back to the Belmont game, Freddie's available, that zone's not giving us the problems that it did. Because you get Freddie the ball at the free throw line and let him attack the rim, he's going to either score, get fouled, or kick it out to a shooter. And so Freddie is having Freddie healthy and available is huge.
Coach, you mentioned at the very beginning of the season, you wanted more TV games for exposure for the players in the program. Just how big is it to get another national TV game, but this one obviously at home?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge for the university. It's huge for the athletic department. It's huge for our young men. They deserve it. Caleb Fields deserves that. We've got it's great. I just think back to my time at Buffalo. When we first got there, we weren't getting nationally televised games, maybe 1 or 2 a year. By the time we left, I think we played like 10 my last year there. I may be exaggerating. Maybe it was 8. But we played 8 to 10 national television games in our 4th year there. It brings a exposure to our brand across the country. People that normally wouldn't watch an Arkansas State basketball game are just going to flip to ESPNU and say, "Oh, let me check out a good mid-major basketball game." And you'll see if you look across the country and you look at statistics, these television games, as they increase, they lead to increased enrollment at a lot of places. And sports, athletics plays such a huge part in enrollment. I learned that firsthand at Alabama. If you go back and look at the impact that Nick Saban had on enrollment at the University of Alabama, I mean, he needs more than one statue over there. He needs the one in front of the football stadium. Then he also needs a statue in front of that admissions office because it's unbelievable. So I'm just excited for our guys, excited for the university, and to help get our brand out there. I think going back to Kara's question, I think we play a fun style of basketball. I think if people turn it on, they're going to enjoy watching. Hopefully. Kara? What's the question of the day?
So my question today is what else has to happen this season for you to consider year 1 of the Bryan Hodgson era a success? So is it already a success, or is there finish above 500, win a couple games in the tournament? So that's my question.
I hope all these message boards rats crawl out from their holes and answer these questions. I get people that send me screenshots of some of these message board clowns that we're supposed to be 27-0 or 26-0 right now, and it's a lot, but no, it's good. I think it's a good question. I'm not ready to call it a success. That's what my answer was. I think we're heading there. We haven't won anything yet. We haven't, but I mean, if we finish top 5 in the league in year 1, I mean, I looked at some numbers yesterday. Thanks to our trusty sports information director, Caleb Garner. He sent me some stuff yesterday. Did you send that to my email, Caleb?
Yeah, I sent it to your email.
Some cool stuff for me. This is not something I want, like, oh, look at me, but things for our guys. I think Caleb Fields in particular. We're 142 on KenPom this morning. That's the highest Arkansas State's been on KenPom since 2016, 2017. Doubled, ignore the first part of this. Doubled conference win total from last year, which that wasn't hard to do. From 4 to 8 with 4 games left. But we are one more win away from tying the most conference wins since 2000. Excuse me. One more win will be the most conference wins since 2016, 2017. So if we get to 9 wins, that'll be the most conference wins since Grant McCaslin's 16-17 year, and only the second time in the last 10 years that Arkansas State's had more than 8 conference wins. I think, going on the road, a 7-game losing streak in San Marcos, we beat, we broke that. First game won at South Alabama since 2016. First road sweep in Sun Belt play since 16-17. I think, I think we instilled our brand of basketball. 6 games this year with 90 or more points. That's the most in the Sun Belt by far, and best by an A-state team since 2001. I think that we've instilled our brand of basketball. I think that we're trending in the right direction. Now that we're healthy, I think we've got a chance to get to 10 or 11 Sun Belt wins. So maybe wait a week and then ask that question.
So I wanted to ask you maybe to reflect a little bit on, obviously this is your first year with Caleb Fields. He's basically a 5-year starter here, obviously because of COVID, he got the extra year, but just how rare is a guy like that, 4-year starter, the way the game is right now,
Yeah, it's very rare, and I'm blessed to have him here, and I'll never, that's why I'm so proud for him. I'm happy for him to have this television game here at home. I'm happy for him. He's only 2 ever Sun Belt Player of the Weeks came this year. I'm happy that I'm able to coach him and he can play in this offense. I think it's no secret that he's excelled the way we play. I think it was really a match made in heaven. This year is going to open up some doors for him to play professional basketball. Because this is the brand of basketball that the next level wants to see, whether it's overseas, the G League, whatever the case may be. That's how they play. They play fast. They shoot threes. They attack the rim, and Caleb wants to play. And so I think our offense is built for guys like Caleb to succeed downhill. Paint touching guards. He's a leader, and so I'll never discount how big it was for me to inherit a guy like Caleb Fields.
Coach, another thing for me on the rebounding last week, in particular in the Troy game, just your thoughts on what you guys were able to do there, to out rebound a team that's got the best rebound margin in the conference.
Do y'all remember the Baylor Yale NCAA tournament game? Gosh, 8 years ago, where Baylor lost to Yale in Providence, Rhode Island is where that game was. And Baylor lost to Yale, and Yale out rebounded Baylor, and Baylor was huge that year. And Baylor went to the podium, and they asked the young man from Baylor, they said, well, I forget his name, really good player. How did you get out rebounded by Yale? And he looked at the media row at the NCAA tournament. He said, well, you see, someone shoots the ball and the ball hits the basket, it hits the goal or it hits the rim. And then you go up and you grab it with 2 hands and you bring it in and you secure it. Well, they did that more times than we did. And that's how they out rebounded us. But I always think it's hilarious. But no, I think to really truthfully answer your question, we emphasized it all week. Troy is damn good at rebounding the basketball. I mean, damn good. 20th in the country in offensive rebounding rate. They beat people up on the glass. They've abused the Sun Belt on the glass. And so we incentivize it in practice. When there's points of emphasis in a scout in preparation, that few days of practice leading up to that game, we'll incentivize those things when we play. So in offensive rebound, when we're guarding scout, we'll give our scout team, we play everything to 8. We'll give our scout team +2 for an O board. So if our scout team scores off an offensive rebound, all of a sudden it's 4-0. And so we really, really hammer home the things that other teams do well in practice. And I thought our guys really bought into it, mostly in the second half. I don't want to discard the fact Troy beat us up on the glass in the first half. I mean, they beat us up on the O glass. And so what I'm most proud of is that our guys responded in the second half. At halftime, I told them, if you continue to allow Troy to rebound at this rate, we're going to get our butts kicked. And we came out +15 on the glass in the second.
Yeah, Coach, health is so important in the last 4 games, especially. Got to close it out. Historically, Arkansas State has sort of faded at the end because of health reasons or because of exhaustion. It looked like against South Alabama, a guy like Hardnett would have been really valuable to have, considering Freddie Hicks having some problems with fouls and inside. We gonna see him, or is he still recuperating?
He's still recuperating, but we could see him on Thursday. It's a bad ankle sprain. The problem with it is it's the same ankle. It's the same ankle that he sprained. I mean, he had one of the worst ankle sprains I've ever seen earlier in the year when he missed that long stretch, and he re-sprained that same ankle, and that's why it's he's so tough, and every day he comes out and tries to practice, and so we're getting a little bit more from him each and every day, and I just feel for him. This is his last year eligibility, and he's tough, man, and he wants to be out there so bad, almost to the point where I wouldn't call it lying, but he'll come to me and say, like, Coach, no, I'm good. Like, my ankle's good. And then I watch him, run up and down the floor one time, and I'm like, LaQuill, it's not good, bud. I appreciate it, but he loves this place. He loves this community. He's so happy to be here, and he wants to help this team so bad. I hope that if not Thursday, and there's a chance Thursday, that we can roll him out there on Saturday for his last game in First National Bank Arena. We may actually have to literally roll him out there, but we'll see. But no, it's he's the only one. DeAndre, you've probably seen with the lingering foot deal. DeAndre's okay. That's something that we'll have to address in the postseason, but nothing of any real significance. Caleb Fields, if he was allowed to play in bubble wrap, I would do it. He seems to nick something or ding something up every game. The South Al game, if you notice, we played that last 2.5, 3 minutes without him. He had a groin strain, which is no fun when you're a point guard. So we were, fortunate we pulled that one without him out there that last stretch. But just rehabbing that this week, and I think he'll be fine.
Last question for me. Isaiah Nelson has been really, really impactful over the past, couple games, and we've seen flashes before in the past. But do you feel like maybe he's turned a corner to where he can stay on the court in a consistent basis? And if so, kind of what has led to that light bulb coming on?
Yeah, I think so. I think the answer would be film study. I mean, we show him it's not it you don't want to overcoach him on his fouls at the rim, like when he's going to block shots. I mean, he's a great rim protector. He's had 5 blocks in each of his last 2 games. You want to eliminate the stupid fouls. Like he had one against where were we? It was our last home game, it was Ohio. They get the defensive rebound, and their guards bring it up the floor, and he turns the sprint up the floor and runs right into the back of their point guard. Those are the fouls we want to eliminate. And then I also feel like he's victim of, I don't want to say poor officiating. I want to say he's victim of it being the toughest position to officiate. A rim protecting athletic big that we're having try to block everything at the rim. Unfortunately, those refs oftentimes are anticipating fouls and blow their whistle. Oftentimes it's a guess. They can't tell. I mean, officiating's so hard. Like we criticize it, but like how are you telling in real time who initiated the contact? On a hard physical downhill drive from a big Sunbelt wing, and Isaiah Nelson jumps up to block the shot. I mean, that's hard to do. And I think he's fallen victim to some calls that went against him that shouldn't have, or just should have been no calls. But yeah, I think he wants to be out there, and we look at all of his fouls with him, and talk about him playing in a stance more. Some of the fouls that he can prevent outside of just the silly ones are when he's not in a stance defensively. They get some downhill penetration. Now he has to react. He's late to react because he's not playing in a stance. And so that's been a major point of emphasis with him. Cade, you got to ask a question. We're going to
I was going to ask you about you have the Barstool guys coming in with Rico Brasco and Frank the Tank. Just what was the relationship there? Just the national exposure you expect that to generate.
Yeah, Rico's a good friend of mine. Rico's a New York guy, played in the New York Catholic League. He's a good friend of mine, and I was fortunate enough through Rico to have the pleasure of meeting Frank the Tank Fleming. And so Frank is a personality. There's a reason why he gets paid to work at Barstool, but he's a cool guy, and really, I think the most important thing, these guys are coming down here out of the kindness of their heart. They're coming down here to do me a favor, and to support Arkansas State basketball, which is cool. So Frank is going, if anybody wants to join, you can put this out publicly. Frank is going to do, if you follow Barstool, Frank's on a weight loss journey and he does his walks. And Frank is going to do his daily walk on campus here at A-State. And I think that is going to happen at 5:30 on Thursday. He's going to do his walk. We have some Greek life and some of the student body, and our chancellor, Dr. Todd Shields, are going to join him on that walk. At 4:00, he is doing his raw dog hot dog review at J-Towns. So Kara, we've talked about trying to get him to do a halftime convo dog review. There's some nerves involved there because there's no filter with Frank. And so we don't, if Frank doesn't like the convo dog, we don't want the convo dog leaving here with a bad name. So we're putting all the pressure on J-Towns. But I've heard that the hot dogs that come out of the media room are some of the best in the country. And so and maybe we get him to review one of the media room dogs, but he is doing his hot dog review at 4:00 at J-Towns, his walk at 5:30 here on campus. And then there'll be he's going to be doing the t-shirt toss. Frank's a big t-shirt toss guy. So we'll have him doing the t-shirt toss. And then Rico is going to do a half court contest at halftime. He's going to pick himself and 9 other participants from the crowd. Can I ask a favor of y'all? Please blast out. We are giving $1,000 to the loudest student organization on campus. We'll also be announcing soon. I think there's going to be 2nd and 3rd place prizes. I'm not 100% sure on the money yet, and it'll be announced here shortly for 2nd and 3rd loudest student organizations on campus at the game. And then there's going to be random, I believe 2 fans selected randomly to receive cash prizes just for their attendance. I think they'll scan their QR code or whatever they do when they come to the games as members of the student body. 2 people will be selected for large cash prizes. And we're going to have the half court contest, half court shooting contest with Rico at halftime. And so we need this place packed. I'd love, man, I hear people calling me, say, I think we'll get 5,000. No, let's get 7,000 in here. Why not? It's a TV game. It's Thursday night. Keep the kids up late one night, and let's pack this place. Jeremy told me he's buying 100 tickets and giving them out. Don't be cheap, man. I mean, it's 2 lower bowl tickets for $22.
Yeah, maybe I can swing that. We'll see. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, what the
I'm looking petty cash.
I mean, you must be doing all right. Every time I talk to you, you're in the comfort of your own home.
Yeah, I enjoy that.
I bet. Little 4 roses. But yeah, please just, you guys have been phenomenal. I appreciate your support. Continue to pump that stuff out. We've got I know Chris is fired up for the Barstool guys. You must be a big Barstool follower, Chris.
Mostly the golf show because I'm a big golfer, so I listen to Foreplay quite a lot.
You're a golfer.
A bogey golfer to say the least. I played high school golf for like a year because I grew up in Georgia. We're down there. It's like if you don't play college football, you're playing golf. So I figured out very early after my first year of high school that I may be better about trying to talk and write and do stuff about sports than try to go pro.
Yeah, no, hey, I get it. I get it. Well, yeah, yeah, the golf shows are funny. They do a good job. It's but yeah, Frank's rolling right now. If you saw his last, if you, in some of you, if you want to participate, let us know. We'll get you involved. His last walk, he had, or not his last walk, maybe a week ago, he had Mike Francesca from WFAN, obviously one of the largest radio sports personalities maybe in the history of radio sports, and he did his walk with him, and that was a big deal. Frank has became so popular that last week, if you follow him at all, he's a diehard Mets fan, but he crushes them. He's just he calls them feeble, and it's at the point now where like the Mets fans are commenting about Frank and their media availability, talking about the negative fan base, and so Frank has definitely caught the attention of sports fans around the country. So excited to get him and Rico here in Jonesboro.
All right. Any other questions for Coach? All right. Thank y'all. See y'all Thursday.
Hey,
Thank you.
one question for y'all. I hear, and this has nothing to do with me because we didn't order any of these. I hear that we catch a lot of slack for our uniforms. I hear like everybody.
No, there are like 2 people on social media and 2 people on the message board like that is their thing. They always want to talk about the uniforms and they're very vocal about it, and they will show up in any mention of any uniforms with any program on campus. Don't just
Okay, got it. I was
Just
about to
that
say,
one guy.
I was gonna say, am I missing something? I don't like. We got the wrong logo? Do we got the wrong colors? I wanted to Alabama recently. I don't know if you saw, they brought back their retro uniforms from the 90s. And but I don't think I wish we could. I heard that's not an option for us. I think the NCAA owns the rights to the Indian logo. Any of the any logo that had anything to do with Native Americans, the NCAA owns all the rights to those now. But if there's another logo that we could turn into like a retro uniform, I think that'd be pretty cool. So
just do a script. Do a Red Wolf script. That's it. Because it would be, I think there were either old Arkansas State or old Indian jerseys that were scripts. So just do a script, but Red Wolves.
Yeah, they had a Mississippi State has an alternate that just says state across the top in like a script, and it's pretty cool. But we'll be more vocal about that if we can. We are close to passing those fine folks over in Fayetteville in KenPom. And if we do, I will be my Twitter will have it'll be a good day. So just let's just hang in there.
All righty. Well,
We good?
We good? All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank y'all.
Thanks,
Take care.
Coach.
Thanks,
Thank
Coach.
you.